variety of animes that exist, all of them become irrelevant to the anime that started it all. This is an anime that inspired such phenomena such as Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Bleach. An anime that put the slice of life genre on the map at the same time integrating music plot-driven animes as well. Now fair warning, there are spoilers ahead. Now the anime that I do speak of and I praise so much right now, I'm talking about Katonippu Daigaku, or to put in his mediocre American name term, Catnip College. And I already know what you're all saying, but Keon, how come you never did an opening review if it's as good as you claim? And to answer that question, that's because unfortunately it didn't have the budget to do so because they poured all that money into the animation. Now this was the most difficult anime I have ever had tried to find. Unfortunately, I was only able to find the first episode, but at the same time, fortunately the first episode sets up the entire series. Now Seishi Kishimoto, who is the twin brother of Masashi Kishimoto, whose anime Naruto fails in comparison to Katonippu Daigaku, Seishi said the sole reason he created this was to send a message that despite what people may think, it is okay to be yourself. This message carried on tremendously with his phenomenal job with the crazy amount of foreshadowing in just one episode. This episode sets up what is to come in the future for our characters. Now like I said earlier, this anime is a slice of life music anime, or that's what it wants you to think in the very beginning at first. The episode starts off with a couple of students headed for school. After they exit the vehicle, the car continues to go on and continues to roll and crashes, foreshadowing that we're in for a bumpy ride and things aren't what they may seem. Then the scene takes us to a hallway where we see a variety of minor important classes. Once we reach Swingology, the door is moving in a rhythmic motion. I think this is subtlety at its very best. At first viewing this may seem like some sort of random occurrence, but that isn't the case at all. This movement of the door is a miraculous foreshadow into episodes to come, giving us a hint that this class is more than what we think it is. After this, we are then introduced to our underdog protagonist, Masayumi Uzumaki. In comparison to Naruto and Deku, they are nowhere near the underdog Masayumi is. Funny enough, Masashi used the same last name for his protagonist, Naruto. Masayumi stands out like a sore thumb in comparison to his fellow classmates and his lack of rhythm. This scene leads to one of the greatest characters introductions of all time to a character that will lead this class to the future. And that character is none other than Professor Takayomi. As he begins to rise from the ground, we see behind him la-di-da, which are the most powerful words to use come the last episode. Calling the scene just gives me goosebumps. The fact that Takayomi is able to get his students to become in sync gives us a taste what powers he hides. Once the students begin to greet him, Takayomi begins to dance, having a drawing behind him representing himself, moving the rhythm showing us that his power spreads to inanimate objects. After this spectacular animated scene, Takayomi introduces us to the rival of Masayumi, Yugo Kanusaba. Yugo's swing skills are produced to us, showing he has the ability to make others act out his songs. This will later play a big factor within the music exam arc. As his songs continue, we then see later important characters Masuda and Akito. This scene is nothing but brilliant. When Masuda puts the trash can on Akito's head, this foreshadows the Akito retrieval arc, where Akito is in prison because of Masuda's mistake, but later he has to be saved by him. I really appreciate the drum solo Professor Takayomi casually plays after this scene. This was actually a tribute to Terry Bozzio due to the Seishi's love for the style. Takayomi introduces us to Kitty Bright, who is Masayomi's girlfriend. Funny enough, Masayomi's best friend Yoshindo is shown, who shares this scene, and boy howdy, I wasn't prepared for how badass this guy actually is. That wagging finger may look silly now, but true catnip otaku knows exactly what scene I'm talking about when referring to that. After this, our hero Masayomi is put on a spot for his presentation at this very moment. We see even more how much the odds are stacked against him. His constant moving, the chills running down his body, and the lack of eye contact. It really seems like he has no possible idea how exactly rhythm works. What makes this scene even more powerful is the disappointment Takayomi shows in his student. Takayomi's reaction shows us the relationship the two have and just how disappointed he is in his pupil. Masayomi is then put in a corner only to be mocked by his fellow students, and even his girlfriend gives back the fraternity pin he once gave her. Now, this pin will play a big role, especially with the Battle of Fraternities arc that definitely surpasses the Great Ninja War arc, but despite giving this back to him, she does give him words of encouragement by telling him to find his swing spirit, and at that moment is when the anime changed forever. Tonight, the rest of the students show off their swing spirits, which Kitty mentioned before. Now, before I continue, I cannot continue without mentioning the greatest subtle main villain reveal I've ever seen. With his back turned as he focused on his audience, we see the greatest rival Masayomi will come to face, Hashirama Agato. What seemed like a standard student is none other than the man who wants to be the swing king. One thing I want to mention is that the work that A1 Pictures did with the animation here was out of this world in comparison to the lackluster work they've done before. But back to Masayomi. He hears his fellow students' rhythmic music as he focuses his energies to draw out his swing spirit. The sound of the clock encourages this, allowing him to burst off like the Flash, and once he joins his fellow students, my word, Masayomi does not disappoint with this ability to leave people in awe. This energy spreads to Kitty, who joins him in this endeavor. This was by far one of the best performances in the show, only to be surpassed by the epic battle between Masayomi and Hashirama. Unfortunately, once Masayomi falls on his head, his powers are depleted until later on within the show. Katonippu Daigaku does not only just do well with providing depth to his multi-layered characters, inspiring other animes to follow his lead and how they carry their shows, which you see several of them paying homage to. And speaking of homage, Daigaku's homage to old classic swing artists is tremendous when the characters channel their swing spirits. For instance, you have Masayomi Uzumaki, whose swing spirit is Benny Goodman, Ella Fitzgerald for Kitty Bright, Count Basie for Yugo Konosuba, Duke Ellington for Masuda, Louis Armstrong for Akito, Glenn Miller for Yoshindo, and Frank Sinatra for the anime villain that not even Madara Uchiha surpasses, Hashirama. As I know it seems like I'm just speculating and everything over here and probably just talking out of my ass, but I really do believe that this anime will definitely go down as one of the greats. But it's unfortunate that not many are aware of the show's greatness and how much of a role it really played for anime's later to come. It's just a thing about being an anime that's made way ahead of its time, and not only that, being in the past, it hurts, but at the same time, you do have to pay homage to them, and I just wanted to give you guys, just to inform you guys, just want to give you that type of knowledge of these great animes that are just taken for granted, if you know what I'm saying, you know? Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass cheeks, but I don't know, guys. But for those of you that are new to this channel, I do release videos once a week. I mean, every now and then, it may be even just more than one video a week. But at the same time, guys, if there's any other TV shows, movies, animes, trailers, or any such, or any other type of specific type of video you want me to make, then by all means do comment below. And always, like if you dare, and subscribe if you care.